Okay, so it's Kathleen Gallagher from the Ontario Institute for Studies in Education at the University of Toronto.
It's Myrto Pigkou-Repousi from the Open University of Cyprus, from the Department of Theatre Studies.
And you are from?
Greece.
Athens,
from
Greece.
Athens, yes.
Okay, so Myrto, I know this seems very formal, but I actually want us to have an easy conversation, so no pressure. And I want to start by asking you, even though I've given you no time to think, and we have worked from morning to night every day so far, I want to ask you, as much as you have been able to process this week, what do you think are some of the more major learnings that you've had this week that you will bring home?
I think that in this journey I understood as much as I understood when I first read the description of the program. If I can say at that time I thought I understood everything, now I understand that I had understood half and the rest of the half here. I think it was very important that we made clear the processes of verbatim that we want to follow, and we deconstructed the tools that verbatim provided us with regards to educational aims and research aims, which has been very important, because even if we knew how to use the tools within theatre, here we contextualize it for the very specific goals of this project. And then I think what was a big thing for coming here was that by seeing your schools, by seeing what you have done, by listening to you explain to us and all the persons who are involved in this project, all the researchers, now I will be much more able to make sense of the data they upload in our platform.
That's right.
And I think that the others will be more able to make sense of what I'm talking about when we discuss, even if it is a small detail or a very important part of the process.
Yeah, you've really taken a lot of the questions about research practices to heart and really tried to reconcile a way of working that I have, which may seem more organic, less directive, for all kinds of reasons, to translate that back for yourself to the purposes of research in our field, what we think we want to know and how we want to get at those understandings. And you've been really good to constantly bring us back to those questions about the actions we take in the name of research and the different results that they can produce. So I want to ask you to say a little bit more about the experience of creating a global network of research around the issues of hope and care and democracy, from your vantage point in this historical moment in Greece, with all of the economic and social context that you've so beautifully provided for us. How do those questions, and how does research in general, how are you mobilizing those ideas in this historical moment for Greece?
I think that always in the educational research, when we are looking for issues and narratives and discourses, we always have in mind that concepts like that are contextual. But when we come to realize what they really mean in different contexts, then we understand what in theory have in mind. I mean, I realized it is very different. There are many differences of what hope might be for us, or for Canada, or for India. But at the same time, I I'm realizing how common spaces drama can create for our students. And whereas Canada or Britain might seem, to my mind, at the moment, coming from Athens, a more similar category, and India and Taiwan a more similar category for very different reasons. And I was always thinking that Athens is in this moment of big changes. I realized that we can have very positive results if we think the situation of all the other sides. We normally, when we are in Athens, we always feel in this period particularly that we have to imitate Toronto or Britain. But at this moment it was very good to realize that we have to take very good lessons from India and Taiwan and the way these very different cultures are using drama.
Can you think of a moment this week, any time in the week, in the schools here, in the theaters, or within the presentations, where for you, your own context became known to you in a different way because of what you were seeing and hearing?
Yes, there was a point very important for me. I had thought of it when I was in 2008 in London, but I forgot it very quickly. And now, having all this research practice, I realized when the Toronto presentation was going on that apart from the economic crisis and all the difficulties we have to face as a country at the moment, there is something else that we could do to face it, that we don't do it at the moment. First of all, us as educators, we don't develop positive discourses and narratives within the school. Seeing your students in the schools you are collaborating with and attending your presentation, the Toronto presentation, and the way students are talking and researchers were talking about the project, I realized that being able to name the positive things, even if it is a process, a result, a moment, is not something superficial. It's something very important for all of us who participate in the project, and we shouldn't neither neglect them nor underestimate them, because in Greece we are in a political moment when everything needs to be judged and changed. So critique is a huge thing that's going on in the political discourse and also in the public performances, not only theater performances of the public space. School has been very much influenced by that. We as researchers were conducting the project thinking all the time what is going wrong, if there was something that was going wrong. Students themselves had the concern if they are right to what they were doing, if there is something they were doing wrong. I think
it's in the psyche now.
Yes. I think that if we are giving more space to our positive moments as researchers, our group, as communities, then we can extend them not only in time in our minds, but also in results.
So let me push that further, because that's such an important question that you're posing of all of us. If we consider ourselves, as we do, critical scholars, is there a contradiction, or rather, how do we reconcile our critical disposition towards the world, which we know is entirely unequal and in a very dangerous moment. How do we reconcile our critical orientations with this idea that you have surfaced, that we need also to not stupidly celebrate positive emotions, but to actually critically find spaces where people can create and come together, form community, make art that is a resistance? How does the development of positive spaces and discourses relate to a critical orientation in scholarship?
First of all, I also believe that for what you are saying is very important that we came to Toronto, because one way to reconcile these two things is other researchers' perspectives and the depth, the breadth, and they give to our research. Each of us, our presentations have been changed after we discussed them with you and all of us.
Yeah.
And then our critical view as a researcher, and it shouldn't be criticism for the sake of it. It should be criticism to change things, to undertake action, to create collective initiatives. So at some point, if it's towards this kind of action which is oriented our criticism, at some point it needs to stop and take action. And this is the action we can take, I believe, with drama, and particularly with this project, which is about care and hope. And the space we are giving to hope as a true action through our performances, and as a collective initiative for sure, as it is it's the creation of a group of students, then I think this is a way to reconcile things. Otherwise, criticism becomes a paralyzing thing, as it can become ignorance, or we have to move.
Such a beautiful answer. I want to ask you one more question. When did you finish your PhD study? When did I read it?
2012.
2012. So a lot has happened in Greece since the completion of that superb study that you did, that I got to read. I want to ask you, because you created that thinking and those ideas around ensemble practices and democracy, in a sense, in another time and space, in a different world. How is that research now? How do you think about that research now? How does it serve you? How do you mobilize those ideas in the current political and economic moment in Greece?
I will be very honest with you. I completed my PhD in 2012, but I had finished the research 2010. So going back to Greece and trying to restructure part of my thesis to publish it, I didn't even apply, not even to one journal, because trying to reconstruct Habermasian theory of communicative action and consensus, I was feeling so pointless at that moment, and I was feeling that I will become a part of a very conservative and right-wing narrative, that I didn't even try to publish my book in my thesis in Greece. But I remain thoughtful about this, because there is something about communicative action and all these ensemble procedures of coexisting and collaborate that I deeply believe. So I remained silent in the academic terms. But then going back to schools with your project and another project we are doing about refugees, that's now a big problem in Greece, I realized that these processes, when are spread in time the ensemble process, the negotiation, the commonly agreed action, have always a very important value in the social processes, and especially when we are young and we have the opportunity to try things out with others, and we have the openness. And I believe that if we have learned these processes when we are young, then we wouldn't put fire in Athens. Then we wouldn't have so increased amount for the fascist party. And I believe that every time we are giving a space to be changed by a dialogue or by someone's action or thinking, we only earn things at the end.
Myrto, you are bringing so much to our project. I am so thrilled to be working with you. Thank you so much.
Me too. I feel